We're gonna let it run one of these days and get all this off camera discussions in there. Oh,
Well, anybody got anything?
well, you wanna start reading again? You wanna pull them up? You want me to do it from my phone?
Well, let's
We start back with 18.
with 18. Yeah.
18 now.
Go ahead. Yeah.
As he
Good.
was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep, on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. And he said, Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed the end shall be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see now. He's going to talk about it and explain it to him. Let's see if we can understand it. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia. Okay? And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. So the ram is a Media-Persian empire coming into being. And the goat was Greece. Am I right?
Mhm.
And the great horn between his eyes was the first king. The first king of what? The first king of this new kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to the statute, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, for four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. So the king is not going to control the country very well. There's going to be four kingdoms come out of it that he can't control. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
So this is a satanic power.
I say that's probably the Antichrist. The one that rises up,
Yep.
with the bold face, understands riddles, and he'll arise.
And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. In the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told is true, wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days. Afterward I rose up and did the king's business, and was astonished at the vision, but not understanding it. Verse 26, in the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told is true, wherefore shut up the vision, for it shall be for many days. Wonder why we can't understand it? Because it was shut up.
Yep. It was shut up.
We don't know, and we're not gonna know.
Nope. So let's go.
We just talked about that a little bit last week.
Yeah.
We were talking about the things that were shut up. We can't understand the whole thing because we're not told the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel was told the whole thing, and even he couldn't understand it.
Right.
It made him sick.
He couldn't understand any of it.
It made him sick for days afterwards.
Well, you think about it too. You look at Satan. Satan doesn't know either. I mean,
That's right.
He's not. He's going to go by the same thing we're going by.
Yep.
So
So
And then Revelation, John is also told to seal up certain things.
mhm.
yep.
You know, like we said last week, if we knew, we'd tell Satan. No question about it.
Yeah.
He'd
We-
he'd get out of somewhere.
Yeah, we don't need to know.
So we mentioned last week about the paint job, right?
About what?
The paint job.
The paint job.
That chapter 7 and 8 is kind of like a paint job. I'll show you a column since we've finished chapter.
We finished 7 and 8 both tonight.
Chapter 8, yeah. Just one verse in 7, but hey.
For the third time.
For the third time. So let me see here.
Well, I'm sure Don and David have a lot to add to that
Oh, I know.
next week when they're back.
Yep.
And I don't want to deprive them of that either.
Yeah.
And I'd like to hear their input.
So someone go to Daniel 7 and someone go to Revelation 5:11.
Where are you going?
Revelation 5:11.
You ready to go to what now?
Daniel 7:10. And while you're doing that,
This thing, man. Why has it got to do that?
so it is
Okay.
easy to find topics and discussions as we keep on reading Daniel and Revelation and all. But the conclusion is clear that there would be a time of tribulation for the saints. Which, I mean, in this world we will have tribulation, right?
And there again, people say that there can't be a preacher of rapture because he wears out the saints. There's no saints. But if millions of people are being saved, there are saints for him to wear out.
There you
Those
go.
are the ones he's going to wear out.
Yep. So this is kind of like a puzzle piece. Let's see here. So we will be given into the hand of the Antichrist, or the saints will be. Either it be us or the saints that are here after the rapture. As Job was given it into Satan's hand, many or even most would be killed, like you were saying earlier, if they did not deny their faith, if they stayed true to the Lord. Stephen, Zechariah, John the Baptist, Peter, Paul, and even Jesus himself were executed for not denying their faith. So go to whoever's got Daniel 7:10.
Daniel 7:10, a fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened.
Revelation 5:11.
It says, and I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels around about the throne and the beast and the elders. And the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000s and thousands of thousands.
Okay, so each give the number 10,000 times 10,000, or
Thousands and thousands.
100 million martyrs that are before God's throne, and it seems like these are the ones that are killed for their faith during, the tribulations and
That's
stuff.
a lot of people.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be the greatest revival the earth's ever seen.
That's true. So, if you remember in Daniel chapter 7,
That was way last week.
oh yeah, the saints take the kingdom in 7:18. The horn makes war and prevails against the saints in verse 21. In verse 22, judgment is given to the saints as they possess the kingdom. Verse 25, the beast wears out the saints. And verse 27, the kingdom is given to the saints. And in this week, Daniel 8, 9 through 11, the little horn waxes great and casts down from the host of heaven and takes away the daily sacrifices. So do y'all see how it's kind of like a paint job? It goes, tells the story once and tells the story again, but with more detail. So here's where I'm kind of glad Don's not here to see this. Because, well, there we go. So in Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21. Why is it not working, Don? Our tech guy's not here, so it's kind of hard to do. But anyway, so for some reason, of course, it's not working. But in Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21 were there, the the parallel passages. And in Mark 24, the disciples come to Jesus and ask him, when are you coming and what are the signs that we need to look for? And he tells them, and in verse 29, it says, immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun be darkened and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then the tribes of the earth mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with power and great glory. But I don't think that Matthew 24 is in, or any of these are in chronological order. Or are they? Because you get the same story in Revelation chapter 6. So Matthew 24's column covers 28 verses, and Mark covers 24 verses, and same in Luke, 25 verses, and they all say after the tribulation, the sun and the moon are going to go dark. But is that going to be actual sun and moon darkened, or is it going to be figuratively
Say
speaking?
after the tribulation or during the tribulation?
No, this says Matthew 24 is my favorite one. Immediately after the tribulation of those days.
Okay.
So, well, we know in Matthew 24 reading upward, it says that one is taken and one is left. Right? So, actually, if I might, let's see. Okay, so in verse 21 says that there will be great tribulation, such as, and so on. So, but if you go up to to kind of get get in the sequence over here, and not to quote it out of context, right? So let's start in verse 6. Wars and rumors of wars. Okay,
What book?
this is Matthew 24.
Okay.
So we got wars and rumors of wars,
Mm-hmm.
and they will. Let's see,
Nation shall rise against nation.
right? Kingdom against kingdom.
Nationality against nationality.
Yep. And all these are the
Countries
beginning
against
of
countries.
of sorrows. Yep. And they will. And then shall they devour, deliver up to the afflicted, and shall kill you, and then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and hate one another. Where's that verse that says that one is taken and one is
False
left?
prophets shall rise.
And that-
Deceive many.
And see, all of this has already, in my eyes, happened.
Been happening.
Been happening, yeah. You know, you got wars and rumors of wars that's been happening
Been Since Cain killed Abel.
yeah. But verse 15 kind of is what makes me think that it's not in chronological order. The abomination of desolation.
Spoken of by Daniel the prophet.
Yep, and we'll be talking about this next week.
Yeah. Now Daniel saw it all.
Oh yeah, yeah. Then let them which be in Judea flee to the mountains, and let him which is on the housetop not come down and take anything out of his house, neither let him return. Let's see. Pray that your flight not be in winter, for there shall be great tribulation, for such has since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. So, and then it goes back to like, hey, if anyone says that here is Christ, you know, we know not to say, okay, which, you know, a lot of people have already done that. So, but the thing that I am trying to figure out with this whole thing is there's this thing about the abomination of desolation, which is the Antichrist, right?
Abomination of desolation is when the Antichrist enters the new built temple in Jerusalem
Yeah.
and claims that he is God. And everybody will fall down and worship him.
Yep.
The whole world. That's the abomination of desolation. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And supposedly that happens in the last 3.5 years.
right. So, with
You had that up a minute ago.
yeah,
Okay.
I got one for you.
what?
Look at verse 22 of Matthew 24. Or go to 21. For then shall be a great tribulation,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
such as not since the beginning of the world
At
this time, nor shall be ever. And except
Mm-hmm.
those days should be shortened,
Yes.
there should be no flesh be saved,
Ha.
For the election.
but for the elect of those who shall, the days shall be shortened. So,
So is that kind of like the predestination thing?
well, I don't think it's the pre, I think it's
Well, I
saying,
mean,
I'm saying that there's gonna be, you know, I'm not sure if he's talking about the elected of Israel. Those are the ones that are gonna be the ones that are gonna not so much take the place of the Holy Spirit, but they're gonna be the ones that's gonna be involved in spreading the gospel at that point, because you
Yeah.
wonder, you just kind of wonder how come the Jews have never really come to the realization of who Christ is at this time,
Yeah.
which we're in the cleansing of the Gentiles right now, and that's probably why they haven't come, because they're waiting for the cleansing of the Jews. That's interesting. So that's a clue of a curveball there, and that's in the King James version. By the way. It doesn't say that in the other versions. It just it has a different type of
Well, there'll be a great tribulation such as was not seen the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. So how you gonna divide that down into a great one? And the first 3.5 are not the great tribulation when it says it has not been since the beginning of the world.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
whole 7 years.
Yeah.
Except these days should be
Well,
shortened.
Yeah, I think we see that in our studies, that we just have a mental concept that the first 3 years is going, when God says it's going to be good, it's really not good for us. It's just not going to be as bad as the last 3.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's still going to be, because He does call it the 7 years of tribulation, not 3.5 years of tribulation.
But if you look at the 7 seals and the 7
Yeah.
bowls or the candlesticks, whichever one, there's 2 of them that's done that first 7 years. That's some terrible stuff. That ain't peace. And except those days be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. If God don't decide to end it, we'll end it for Him. They will destroy the whole world. Sounds like nuclear to me.
Yeah.
But 10,000 years from now, it may be something worse than that. It's like Don was going back and saying, you can't say that these animals represent these countries,
Yeah.
because every war, countries die, new countries are formed. And
But the territory.
by the time of the end,
The name might be changed, but territory will be the same.
Right.
I think so, yeah.
So if you, for further study on this, you got Daniel 7, Daniel chapter 7 through 12, Matthew 24, Luke, Mark 13 and Luke 21 for that, and we're going to end it there. Marquez, how much time have we gotten? How long have we been live?
About to be 30 minutes.
Okay, great. So we're going to end it there. We'll be talking about this much more next week. We made it.